Hey everyone, welcome back. Stephen and John from Davenport European Martial Arts School. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite guards called Posta Frontale o Corona, or crown guard. Or if you do the German tradition, they call it Kron, or crown. The reason it's called crown is because it's protecting the top of your head. When you do crown guard, and I'm going to teach you the way I teach it, not necessarily the way others teach it, because in the German tradition, it's going to be slightly different. So when you're holding it up in place, you're looking just directly over your true edge quillin at your opponent's face. That gives your quillins a 45-degree angle. I can look over my true edge quillin at my opponent's face with my sword in front of my right shoulder, or I can look over my false edge quillin at my opponent's face with my sword in front of my left shoulder. So I can be on either side, depending on where I'm stepping and what my intention is. I was fighting on the battlefield of Agincourt in France for the 600th anniversary of the battle in 2015. I took a team and we were fighting on the field. In line, fighting with all of these different people in armor, on the field with arrows flying over our head into the French lines. All this training that I've done, I found that there's really only 3 guards that I used primarily. And those were long guard to a strike, crown guard, and window guard. And I used window guard for 2 reasons. One, it would protect me from the guy in front of me. It would also give a little, because we fought this close, that would also give some protection to my partner next to me. So if somebody's swinging at his head, I can get down here, he can hit them, and then I can strike off and hit somebody else. Maybe I'll do one of these videos where it's just a series of videos for stories.
Oh, that would be great.
But getting back to crown guard, Posta Frontale o Corona. We want to look just over our quillin at our opponent's face. And that's very important, and I'm going to show you why. We are now facing one another in preparation for entry into the fight. My goal is I'm going to step forward, check and measure.
Check and measure.
To step forward to strike him on top of the head with my blow. Check and measure. And I can put it over his head, over his shoulder, or whatever target I'd like to hit. He's going to go to crown guard. Go to a good crown guard.
Got it.
I throw my cut, and he's just looking over his true edge quillin at my face. That means I can't get anywhere. But if his excitement, his anxiety, his fear takes hold, and he goes too high, even just a little bit, this time I'd like you to take your quillin so it's above your head.
Just above the eyes?
Not very much. Yeah, just right about the top of your forehead.
Perfect.
It's not a lot of difference. Ready?
Ready.
But with that there, I can now come right underneath and lift his hands directly over his head. And that gives me all the advantage I need, even if he is significantly taller than me. And this is something that's common if I'm fighting somebody who's taller than me, because I don't want to reach up for him, because I have a force multiplier. So even if I'm short, I'm going to come through. It's really easy to just walk underneath, and you can see, come forward a little bit. Mm-hmm. That puts my pommel right under his jaw. It's one of the reasons I love this pommel. He's not so fond of it. I love this pommel. Now, that's with him having his quillin about even with his forehead. What happens if it's just above the eyes? So it's not at the forehead, it's just above the eyes.
Let's try out.
Yeah, let's switch sides.
All right.
Check and measure.
Check and measure.
And I'm happy with that. So you go to crown guard and you're just a little bit high, just a little bit. And if you volt the sideways, you can see that his quillins are just over his eyes, which is too high, even though it doesn't look very much. Come on, back to me. So we're here. Even with this, I can step forward and go over his arm and still drive it back. And look how I've able to collapse his elbows. That potentially even leads me back into the pummel strike from a previous video where we can make his teeth blossom. Let's do that one more time. Mostly because I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
So he goes to crown guard, too high, and I just walk it into his face. I need to beat him to death. When we are using crown guard, it's very important that it's just under our eyes. Our fear, our anxiety says, I want to push that attacking weapon as far away from me as possible. This is true against thrusting weapons, such as the side sword or the rapier if I'm using a dagger. I look just under my sword or just over my sword. Will you put your sword on my sword? And he's here. When I'm looking just over my sword, when he pushes forward, it still goes over my head. I don't need a lot of angle. Go back. Now, I'd like you to, from this point, pull your hand back so you take your point off my sword so you can thrust me. Now, do you see how far back he had to pull his sword? Let's do it again. So I'm going to be here, and go ahead. Look how far back he has to pull that. If, however, I am at that same position, but now my sword is above my head. Go ahead. And it's still in line with my face. Let's switch sides and do that again.
Yes, sir.
So I want to show that from different angles. So now that we switched sides, I'm going to look just over my sword at John's face. He's going to be thrusting at my head. And now go forward. And it goes just over my head. I'm perfectly safe. Recover. But if I'm here, now first off, because of our distance, I'm not even going to capture him, he's just going to stab me. But let's say that I've already stepped in and captured his blade. My blade is now above my head. In order to get me, all you have to do is drop his pommel down, and it's going straight into my face. But if I'm looking just, extend, if I'm looking just over my point at my opponent's eyes, in order to retract from my blade, go ahead, he has to pull back that far, which gives me time to do something. Holding your sword here is not that it makes him unable to do something. What it does is it costs him time to do something else. When you're practicing this, and you take this guard, whether it's with the quillins of your sword, whether it's one-handed sword like St. George, whether it's rapier like Mezzacecchio, you don't need to go super high. It's not about pushing their sword away. It's about controlling the amount of time and distance that they have to cover to do something else. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. Just remember here, a little goes a long way in the play of this area, especially in the area where we start in a largo action. We're far away. A small little change that I do near me, just below the eyes, it's a very large change in the distance of your point from my body, because of the extension from us. So, as much as it's a exciting, thrilling, scary thing to have a blade coming at you, you just need to know, a little goes a very long way here. We do not need a lot to keep ourselves safe and gain a new advantage in that fight.
When you have the opportunity, go back through our catalog. We just did a video about what to do with the quarterstaff when the opponent closes. And in that video, you can see John's quarterstaff sliding right past my head. I'm perfectly safe, but it's really close to me. And the same is true not just on the side, but in front. I don't need to push it away. Not only does it give him the opportunity to do something else, the further I push my weapon away from me, up or down, the longer the time it takes me to recover. You'll notice I didn't say forward. That's because if I'm moving forward, I am intercepting their action and changing their time. So that's why I said up or down or to the sides, but not forward. Keep your weapon within your silhouette, which is your trunk. That does not include your shoulders. And why not, John?
Because my tool protects my shoulders.
Whether it's a sword, whether it's my fist, a dagger, a quarterstaff, my tool protects my shoulders. My distance affects my opponent's time, either giving me more time or shortening my time. And my distance is controlled by my feet, not by my tool. With that, I'd like to say thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now understand that this is a short video about using crown guard and controlling angles. But it doesn't have to be with a longsword. It could be with a stick, an umbrella, your arm. Will you punch me?
Yes, sir.
If we're here, and go ahead and be successful. Oh, that was a good punch. Faster than I expected. Oh. So, we see this in karate. Go ahead. Look how high my elbow is. All he has to do is bend his elbow, and I'm gonna just take that elbow to the face. I don't like that. But if he does that again, and I just go here, so I'm looking just over my arm at my opponent's face, he can't hit me with that elbow, and I've got many more things that I can do to cause him pain. But as soon as I let my anxiety and my fear control my reaction, it's not going to do me any good. You must be in control of your actions, and you do not need to move as much as you think. Let's go ahead and pick up our swords again. So, keep in mind that as a general rule, this is specifically what I tell people with footwork. If it feels comfortable, it's too big. If it feels too small to be right, it's probably right. And the only way to figure that out is to practice it yourself. Do you agree?
Very much so.
Right on. Thank you very much for all your help, John.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. If you enjoyed what you saw, please hit the notification and subscription button down below and share this video with other people. I want them to have this idea of how they can use their art in the most effective ways. Until next time, everyone, take care.
Would you like to know more?